dropping that knowledge all day on your head, baby. So we gonna drop this game on you. Let me show you what you need to be thinking about. This video is called Law of the Land versus Law of the Sea. So I'm gonna try to make these videos short. And the reason why I want to make this video short is so that you guys can get the information and the good content, so it make a lot of sense to you guys in relationship to what I'm bringing. So we're gonna talk about the law of the sea versus the law of the land. The supremacy clause is very important to explaining to you the understanding of this document, of this instrumentality, as it relates to relationships with your status, so that you can invoke the proper jurisdiction, so you will know how to deal with the courts appropriately. I'm going to be doing this masterclass coming up. Y'all need to get in so you can understand the treaties, understand the Constitution, so we can stop playing this game. So let's get into it. And it talks about the Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuant of. And I want you to look at it. It's a period and comma. That means it's a complete thought. This thought supposed to be a complete thought, right? Because it's a period and a comma. So I want y'all to understand this semicolon and all of these things that's going on, right? So it says this Constitution, the laws of the United States shall be pursuant. So that means all the laws, United States codes, have to align with the Constitution. If anybody know me, you watch my video and I explain that United States codes must pass what they call constitutional muster. So each statute cannot violate the Constitution in any way. And then it goes on to say, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. So the treaties, right, shall be law of the land. And the Constitution is supposed to protect the rights associated with treaties. So the Constitution and treaties is the thing that you're trying to enforce. Okay? And then it says, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in this Constitution or laws of the United States to the contrary notwithstanding. So anything in this Constitution or any state law, right, in which you got to understand the United States codes got to be in pursuant to the Constitution. So the U.S. codes, state codes or state laws, and anything contrary to this, anything that's contrary to the Constitution don't have standing if it's not according to the supremacy clause, right? So I want y'all to think about this. So you got United States codes, and any of those codes, right, they don't have standing, right? So you got to understand, United States government, which is the three branches of government, they are called constitutional creatures. They're creatures of the Constitution. And each branch have its own prospective jurisdiction in which they create their own agencies. And those agencies will be creatures of that entity. So Congress, anything Congress create, they will be considered creatures of Congress, while Congress will be considered a creature of the Constitution. So let's go up. You need to understand and explore what Congress does in accordance to these articles as it relates to Article 1, Section 8. Now we're going to go over this, right? So, I want you to look at this term general, right? This is very important. This word general is going to come up, and I want you to understand this word. But let's get into this. Congress have the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, and imposts, and excise to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States. Alright, we're going to come back to this word because this word is very important. But all duties and impost excise shall be uniform throughout the United States, right? To borrow money on the credit of the United States, so it can borrow money, okay, on the credit. To regulate commerce with foreign nations among several states and with Indian tribes. To establish uniform rule of naturalization, not nationalization, and uniform laws on the subject of bankruptcy throughout the United States. To coin money, regulate the value of and a foreign coin, and fix standards of weights and measures. Y'all need to understand all of this. To provide for the punishment of counterfeiting the securities and current coin of the United States. Coin of the United States. To establish post offices, post rolls. To promote the progress of science and useful arts by securing for the limited time the authors and inventions their exclusive rights to their respective writings and discoveries. Right? I don't want to get into all of this, but I'm trying to get you to see this is all the things that Congress is really in charge of to define and punish piracy, felonies committed on the high seas, offenses against the laws of nations, that's treaty, to declare war, grant letter of marque, reprisal, and make rules concerning capture on land and water, to raise and support armies. This is very important. But no appropriation of money to the use shall be for a longer term than 2 years. To provide and maintain navy, to make government and regulations of land and naval forces, to provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union, a militia, private army, suppress insurrection and repel invasion, right? This is all the stuff they got to do. So this is where national security and all that stuff come from. This is to suppress insurrection. So we got to understand, like an overthrow of government, this is Congress, right? This stuff is, you need to really understand this. And I'm going to go over some other key points, but you need to understand this part and really break this down point by point, word by word. Understand this part of the Constitution explicitly. You need to understand this, right? To provide for organizing, arming, and disciplining the militia, for governing such part of them as may be employed in the service of the United States, serving to the United States, respectively, the appointment of an officer and authority of training the militia according to the discipline prescribed by Congress. So there's a discipline. There's something that y'all got to understand. When you were born, there's some stuff I'm gonna go over. To exercise exclusive legislation in the cases whatsoever over the district and not exceeding the 10-mile square as made by session of particular states and the acceptance of Congress become the seat of government of the United States, and to exercise like authority over all places purchased by the consent of the legislator of the state in which same shall be for the erection of forts, magazines, arsenal, dockyards, and other needful buildings, and to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into the execution for the foregoing powers and for other powers vested in the Constitution in the government of the United States or any department or officer thereof. This is a whole lot to swallow, and you need to understand this. So we're going to go back to this word general, the general welfare. And I want to show you something in correlation to this, because we're dealing with the law of the sea versus the law of the land. And you got to know the language of the law of the sea because you're dealing with a bank. See, you're dealing with banking. See, under the treaty, we are merchants. We have what they call a treasure or treasury. You are a treasurer. Under their jurisdiction, under the democracy, everything is a bank. So you are a banker. Sea bank. So you're dealing with the law of the sea. Admiralty maritime law. It's not the law of the land. So when you become a banker and you're operating outside of your treaty in which your nation, which confer your nationality, right, to trigger your birthright, you just abandon your birthright to participate in banking. And under those banking laws, they don't care about nationality. You can be a Moor all you want. You can be a Japanese all you want. You can be whatever nationality. They don't care. The more, the merrier. So being a Moor is not going to get you out of the jurisdiction if you're playing the game, right? You have to understand your actions speaks louder than words. So if you're using statutes to get you a remedy, then you're playing banker, and your actions speaks louder than words. Because if you're prescribing in your motions state and federal laws, as a banker, they can say, well, you're acting according to what is prescribed, in which we have plenary power over, and also these laws are private, right, works. It's our private script that you're using, right, without our authority or with our authority. Either or, you are acting out, right, which now confer the jurisdiction, because now they can use the form over substance doctrine to say the substance of how you are acting is verification and proof that you are acting as a banker. So let's continue. The word general. When you see this word, all of your state statutes is going to have this word, general. They're going to be general. Why? Why are they going to start off with general? They're going to be some type of general provision, general code, or general statute. Let's go to Ohio, right? You see this? The first thing in the language is general. Let you know this is the law of the sea. It ain't dealing with no law of the land. So your treaties and the Constitution is dealing with the law of the land. So you're operating outside of treaty and the Constitution, in which is the usurpation, and now you're operating in the laws of the sea. And this is a military term, right? Because Congress, as you can see, raise and support armies, maintain a navy, they regulate, right, the laws of the high seas, piracy and felonies committed on the high seas. That's why everything is shipping. You going from post to post or port, right? So you guys don't understand the language which you're using and triggering the jurisdiction. So you guys are acting as bankers. You acting as a banker. That is the law of the sea. Sea bank. Let's go to treasure so you can understand treasure. Let me see what I did with the term treasure somewhere. Treasure. A treasure is a thing hidden or buried in the earth, on which no one can prove his property, and which is discovered by chance. So you got to understand, you are a treasurer, right? You deal in treasures. I want you to see something as it relates to the correlation of the language with dealing with the law of the land. Here go treaty, right? Let's look at the first three letters. Tree, tree, tria, tria, treasure. What? We talking about law of the land. Talking about tree. Let's go. And let's look at the word treason. Right? This is law of the land. Right? This is not piracy. Let's go here to the Constitution. This is law of the sea. Piracy. Two different jurisdictions, family. Two different jurisdictions. Congress regulates the law of the sea. So you're not using the correct term. If you're dealing in banking and commercial activity, and this is, I could show you some other stuff, but I'm not going to break it all down for you in this video. But teaching you the language, right? When you see the word general as it relates to this, you understand this is a military script as it relates to the law of the sea. Admiralty maritime law. And if you're acting as a banker, you're dealing in Admiralty maritime law. You're not dealing with the law of the land, which is the Constitution, in which now you didn't usurp, right, yourself. But statutes still got to, what they have to do is still what? Align with the Constitution. It must still meet what they call constitutional muster, right? We got to see, right? So a lot of y'all are exercising a statute, right? And it has to be withstanding. Withstanding. It has to have, it can't, not anything contrary to this is don't have standing. It says, this Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, So the laws of the United States must be in pursuant with the Constitution. It must be in line with the Constitution. And all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound by thereby. And anything in this Constitution or the laws of any state to the contrary is notwithstanding. This is very important to know, right? But they're using the contract clause of the United States, and I'll break that down in another video. This is why you need the master class, right, to understand the constitutionality, these creatures of constitution, these constitutional creatures in which they create their prospective jurisdictions where they have the right to exercise. So y'all got to understand this. So let's go to rights. Let's look. I'm not gonna get into that. I got some case law that I can break it down, right? So in the treaty, it talks about all your prospective jurisdictions as it relates to treaty. Let me see how much time I got on the video. 22 minutes. I'm about to cut this video short. I'm give it one more minute. But we need to understand what is. Okay, let's go back to article, right? Article 1, section 8. This is very important. Supreme Court. Offenses against the laws of nations. This is very important as it relates to jurisdiction. So a lot of you guys don't understand public and private, right? Y'all think just because you private, you escape the jurisdiction. No. Let me explain to you this public and private situation before I end this video. Public and private bankers are subject to the same laws. Just because you are in a public capacity or you are in a private capacity, if you're a creature of the state or a creature of Congress, which are creatures of the state, you are subjected to those banking laws, and it doesn't matter if you are public or private, you are still subjected to those laws. So don't get it twisted about this public and private thing, because you're still eating off the same apple. That's why private people go to jail. They don't care about your nationality. They don't care. And I told you that statutes are mere clauses to a contract. Look it up. I'm not going to break everything down on this video. I done spoke and I did a lot of research for you guys. So this public and private thing, get over it. A lot of y'all don't understand how this stuff works as it relates to the constitutionality and the fold of government as it relates under the color of law. It's not law. It don't have standing. The only way it has standing is through the contract clause, contraction, contractual. You give it the power. You give it standing under law. Come back to your nationality. Understand that secure party creditor stuff is garbage and is taking you away from your nationality, in which that is very important to trigger the jurisdiction. I will teach you how to properly litigate and understanding this stuff as it relates to everything you're trying to do in this movement. So this is King L Bay. Peace, I'm out. This video is Law of the Land versus Law of the Sea.